a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I actually heard Cam Newton say, dude, nobody cares about Indiana. Nobody cares about SMU. Nobody cares about Boise State. And I think I've heard a lot of college football fans out there that are saying that is 100% why I'm paying attention to college football right now. What is up, everybody? It is Jake back with Master Football. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, hit that red subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And if you like EA college football content, go subscribe to my other channel, the MF Film Room. Link is in the description. But enough about all that college football content. Let's go. All right, guys, it's been a little bit since I posted here, but I want to get back. I'm getting a little rolling here because I will let everybody know. Part of the reason why I wasn't posting as much is because I really wanted to just enjoy this season from, a standpoint of being a Boise State fan. As you guys know who I am, I'm a big fan of Boise, Ashton Jeanty. I'm hoping he gets the Heisman. Again, we're probably going to be leaning towards, Travis Hunter with the betting markets. If you go by the coaches, again, we'll throw it over here. I want to talk about the CFP field that was revealed just on Sunday because there's lots and lots of conversations to be derived from it. But two big teams I want to talk about here because they are absolutely elated with the results of it based off of previously getting shunned. So here we are at the CFP bracket, and as we see here, this first round, this looks so beautiful. So the number one overall seed was your Oregon Ducks. A lot of people say, oh, hey, they've got it screwed here with what they're going to have to do. That might be true. Some people are looking at Georgia and be like, Georgia, they're in a good spot here. We'll see what happens with Carson Beck's shoulder. And then the other conversations we have here are Indiana and Notre Dame, the battle of the Hoosier State down there. We've got Penn State playing SMU. We've got Tennessee and Ohio State. And then Clemson sneaks in with that 3-loss, but still conference championship in the ACC. They play at Texas that first round. And then as well as this, the unsung heroes of all this is the Arizona State Sun Devils, the 4 seed. Absolutely shocked considering the fact they were projected to finish last in the Big 12. They win the league. They're going to the CFP. Shocked at what they're doing out there with Kenny Dillingham in Tempe, Arizona. Now, there was a lot of elation with those teams, talking about the teams that got invited. However, the one team that finished just on their way out was Alabama. So much so that the Alabama athletic director says he's going to reevaluate their non-conference slate after the CFP picks. A lot of people are thinking, what the heck are you talking about? Considering the fact what the argument is. The argument is that Alabama, knowing that based off of what they believe that strength of schedule does not matter. You could schedule 4 cupcakes in the offseason or in non-conference, and then all you got to do is win your conference games. You'll be invited to the CFP. They are basically blaming their non-conference slate for the reason why they lost to Vanderbilt in Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns in November. Again, we're not going to go there. We're just saying that's the logic that they're using. Why would they increase their strength of schedule when they know that the teams that didn't increase their strength of schedule got rewarded from it? I kind of understand the logic, but then I also but that doesn't apply this year. The reason why you guys lost is because you guys were 1 spot away after losing to a 6-6 football team by 3 touchdowns in November. But neither here nor there. That's their logic. We'll see what they do. My best guess is nothing's going to change. Now, there's 2 teams that are absolutely thrilled based off of the previous years, based off where they've been, based off everything that's been involved, of the fact that they are being included here. One of them, of course, is my Boise State Broncos, and the other one is the SMU Mustangs in Dallas. They are absolutely elated here. They were losing pretty big to Clemson, and they're like, whoa, if they got blown out in that game, they probably wouldn't have got that invite. However, they came back, lost on a last-second field goal to a great Clemson team. I know they lost to South Carolina. They got dump trucked by Georgia, but they're the 12 seed. But you look at SMU, they are in the dance. In addition to one of the craziest events ever, Boise State. Again, it's so crazy when you go online and you read what everybody did. Everybody's like completely did not read the rules of the CFP. It said the top 5 conference champions are in, and the 4 highest rated conference champions are going to get first round byes. That was under the understanding that Boise State was like, oh, they'll probably be the G5 team. They'll be that 12 seed. They were the 3rd highest rated conference champion because a lot of what the SEC and the Big Ten did to reinforce those leagues with a lot of that depth kind of hurt them with this because you could only get one guy to have that first round bye. and it was the Georgia Bulldogs. The same thing with the Big Ten with the Oregon Ducks. Think about that. 4 byes. It's West Coast, and a mountain time zone. I know, okay, well, Arizona's kind of both. Then we have Oregon. So 3 former and or future Pac-12 teams are those first round byes, and then your Georgia Bulldogs. It's absolutely shocking to look at that. Thinking about this too, about 3 years ago, we were in a situation where we're like, Boise State, we want to get to a bigger conference. The Mountain West is okay, but it's not really doing what we want to. SMU, they're the American. What are we going to do here? They ultimately were the last 4 out of the first 4 out of the Big 12's expansion policies that they were running, because they took BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston, and then the first 4 out was Boise State, USF, Memphis, and SMU. Checking out here, 365 Sports. Again, look at a much younger here. Okay, not much younger. He hasn't aged that much. Homeboy's doing good for himself. But J.D. Piquel over there at 365 Sports. Now he's at On 3. He's going up the ladder very, very well. I enjoy what JD's been doing. But you see this here. This was October 1st, 2021, 3 years and 2 months ago. We were talking Big 12 expansion 2. Big 12 expansion round 2 is the Big 12 adding SMU, Memphis, Boise State, and USF. The answer was no on all of those because they waited for the 4 corner schools, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State, to wait for the collapse of the Pac-12. They plucked those 4 and they moved on. Again, I cannot fault them for that decision. However, it really hurt SMU and Boise State. But ultimately, they both found their way into their own conferences with their own, very unique situations there. But they're doing pretty well. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Big 12 made the wrong decision. I would probably do the same thing if I was in their feet. However, it doesn't mean that SMU, who found their own way, SMU, they've got a certain amount of money. I know what they got in trouble for back in the day in the early 80s there with the Pony Excess. But what they did there, they decided, they're like, listen, ACC, we want to be in. We're going to pay our way in. In fact, as a matter of fact, they paid their way in, and now they're carrying the torch for the conference. I know Clemson's in there too. What Clemson is suing the league, and SMU is paying their way to be in the league. It's the craziest thing happening out there at the ACC. Over there on the West Coast, the Pac-12 currently it's 2 teams. It's falling apart. There's Washington State. There's Oregon State. They've got a 2-year, kind of figured out, get some teams thing. They ultimately brought in Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and Fresno State. Then they added Utah State later. They also wanted to add UNLV, but they decided to stay in the Mountain West. I don't know why. Well, Barry Odom decided to leave for Purdue. We'll see how that impacts them. But looking at that conference there, it's such a weird situation between both of those teams. How the hell are we in this instance? The great thing about it, it doesn't really matter, because SMU, with what they've done, they've decided they've gone away from Preston Stone. They've moved on with Kevin Jennings. He started the whole season. He's done absolutely fantastic. And then you think about Boise State. They're like, oh, yeah, well, you got Maddox Madsen. They have Malachi Nelson, the former 5-star from USC. He comes over. He's not the starter. Oh, is he a bust? Boise State, we'll see how they do. They ultimately beat Georgia Southern very first week. They lose at Oregon on a last-second field goal, and then they rip off 11 straight victories. They are 12-1, the Mountain West champs. Again, oddly, the connection between both these teams, SMU and Boise State, is both of them struggled against Nevada for some reason. SMU struggled really early on the road, and Boise State struggled in the middle of the season at home. It was just a weird team, a kind of weird matchup. Coach Choate out there with Nevada is going to get plucked. It's only a matter of time before he does so. But you see these teams, it's really cool to see. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I actually heard Cam Newton say, dude, nobody cares about Indiana. Nobody cares about SMU. Nobody cares about Boise State. And I think I've heard a lot of college football fans out there that are saying that is 100% why I'm paying attention to college football right now. This is the craziest year of college football. Everybody who's complaining about the CFP is going to watch every single game. This is going to be an absolutely awesome year. Arizona State, even with the fact that the Big 12 shunned SMU. SMU was a Dallas team, and they're like, okay, we already have the Dallas market. We're not going to add anything by adding them in there. They also shunned Boise State. They're like, it's kind of a smaller region. They do win, but we'll see what happens there. SMU decides to go to the ACC. Pac-12 decides to pluck Boise State. But one of the 4 corner schools, Arizona State, projected to finish last, is now going to be the automatic bye. They're going to play the winner of Texas and Clemson. So I can't really fault the Big 12 for what they've done. However, I can say that both SMU and Boise State, They haven't had the last laugh. We're still going on here, but they are moving on and onward and upward despite the fact that the Big 12 said no to them 3 years ago. All right, guys, what do you think about this whole situation? I think, again, I do not fault the Big 12. I had a video about 2 weeks ago where I said SMU was giggling at the Big 12. They were more shunned because they were in it before, or they were in the Southwest Conference. They were kicked out, and they were never let back in. They've slowly clawed their way back into CFP contention and national relevancy. We'll see how they do. They got Penn State. They got a tough matchup there. Boise State, they have to play whoever wins between SMU and Penn State, so they have an automatic win there. I've already got my plane ticket set for that game. It's going to be awesome. They're doing what they can to go to the Pac-12 onward and upward. What do you guys think about all that? I think there's so many storylines to go through, but both of those teams ultimately shunned by the Big 12, but finding their footing underneath them. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. So for me, guys, I'll see you guys later. I am out.